Evolutionary.org, podcast from Way, episode 446. Stevesmi and the Rickster. What's up, Ricky B. Rock?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there?
Good. So this one, we're going to do a special holiday winter episode. We're going to talk about winter bulking stacks and holiday cheers and food. So it's going to be a fun podcast. So why don't we get to it, Rick?
I'm ready for it, man.
Yeah,
all right. Well, what's a good winter bulking stack? What is a really good winter bulking stack for all you guys out there? Classic deca, dianabol, and testosterone. Deca, dianabol, and testosterone is just a great, quick, fast, very easy to use holiday stack. If you one of these guys that needs more than 3 compounds in your cycle, equipoise can be thrown right on top of that. It's a great stack. But for the most part, deca, dianabol, and testosterone. What's so great about this stack is that it's economic, it's cheap. It's easy to find legitimate dianabol, deca, and testosterone. Shit, all the expensive steroids that are fake, that are bootlegged out, they usually use one of these 3 compounds instead of the stuff you really want. You know, so it's going to be a cheap stack for you to run. You could run plenty of it, grow like a weed on it, definitely get some serious growth on it, and don't have to worry about much of anything, man. You're going to be able to save some money to buy those gifts. You're going to be able to save some of that money to buy some gifts for the kids, for the family, for everyone. Also, what's the best way to run it? Listen, holiday, 600 to 750 milligrams of testosterone per week, 200 to 300, maybe 400 of nandrolone, and then 10 to 20 to 30, maybe 40 mgs of dianabol per day for the first 4 to 6 weeks. Now, if you're starting dianabol cycle in the next couple, that's going to definitely ruin your holiday drinking. You can't be drinking no champagne, slamming down the champagne when you are on serious cycle. You can't do that. Well, maybe 1 or 2 drinks out of the whole month won't be too bad, but definitely got to watch your liver, watch your everything when you're using an oral steroid with a couple of injectables. You definitely don't want to play any games with your liver. Definitely use N2 Guard, my product, my liver support product. And if you're going to slam on some of that holiday food, definitely use N2 Slim, my N2 Slim product, to help you make sure not to have a bunch of fat accumulation from eating some of that product, eating some of that food, some of that holiday food. Do you need aromasin on a cycle like that? Yeah, I mean, once you go above 500 milligrams of testosterone and you're slamming dianabol on top of that, there's a very good chance you might. I always prefer aromasin just for general anti-estrogen purposes. If you are gynecomastia prone, the way I am, Novadex is definitely a must, definitely a requisite. Even something as little as 5-10 milligrams a day, it's really good and really does a lot. It goes a long way in helping you get rid of some of your gynecomastia symptoms. And for the most part, reason we like doing cutting during the winter is because we're all covered up. We're all covered up. We don't have it's the time of the year where we wear the most clothing, and so we're going to get a little chunky. Tits are going to get a little sugary. We're going to get a little fatty, but it's okay. It's part of the grind. It's part of what we do here, is actually make sure to cover up some of the work in progress. The way you would on a construction site, you're covering the work in progress, and then you gain some extra pounds. You bulk during the winter, and then from that into spring, you go into cutting mode, and then you chisel down. You cut down on a lot of that extra bulk that you gained. So it's definitely a great, easy way to go. It's the reason guys who do bulking and cutting cycles do it this way. They do winter cutting, and then they bulk for the for the summer. Many guys are just getting their cycles started now. Some guys already started their cycles 2 months. They're going to finish now, so that way they can have some drinks to come along with the holiday cheer, which many guys do enjoy. So it's kind of up to like you and what you are doing for the holidays, whether you can actually indulge in some alcohol or not. Me and Steve always say, hey, just don't drink. It's not conducive to a good, healthy fitness lifestyle. However, through reading your social and following a lot of you guys on social that follow me, I've noticed a lot of my customers like the drinking. So definitely Entugard, just that additional liver support during these holiday months is important. It's a very important product to use right along with your winter bulking. So what do you got for winter bulking, Steve? What kind of cycle would you suggest?
So for me, I've always had a lot of success bulking on Trenbolone, and I think Trenbolone is a very underrated steroid for bulking. The reason Trenbolone works so well for bulking is it's a nutrition partitioner by nature. And in the cattle industry, they actually give them, the pellets, the cattle pellets, Phenoplix, to help the cattle get bigger, before, using them for food. So why wouldn't that be the same case with humans? And some guys, they have a different reaction to trend. Some guys, they run trend and they trim up, they recomp, whatever. But the vast majority of you use Trenbolone, you'll notice right away, like the first couple of weeks you're on it, you're already up 5-10 pounds in body weight, because it basically sucks in all the food. It sucks in all the nutrition from your food and shoots it into the muscle. So it's a great bulker. Now, what should you use with Tren? You don't have to use anything with Tren. How about just using Tren by itself? 200, 300, 400. If you're an experienced guy, you can go up to 500 milligrams a week. I personally, I've run it as high as 400, 350, and have had plenty of side effects on that dosage. So for me, I like to run it a little leaner. I like to run it like 250, maybe 300 tops. So just run it by itself, and you can have tremendous results when it comes to bulking. And it's as clean as you can get, because you are running it by itself. You're not running something with it that's going to aromatize. You're not running something with it that's another androgen. You're not running something with it that's going to further strain your cholesterol or etc. So really nothing wrong with just doing Tren by itself. And then when you have those big holiday meals, a Thanksgiving meal, the New Year's meal, the Christmas meals, the Hanukkah meal, the Kwanzaa meal, any celebration that you have over the winter time where you're eating a big meal, you got that trend in your system, and that trend in your system is going to help do that nutrition partitioning effect, where it shuttles in all those nutrients straight into your muscle. So there's nothing better than those trend pumps in the gym. It just feels incredible. I've been on the ground withering in pain from those trend pumps that you get, and they're legendary. There's nothing else like it. You could talk about Anavar pumps, you can talk about Winnie pumps, you can talk about any other steroid that gives you pumps, T-Bol, but there's nothing like the Trenbolone pumps. It's just there's something different about it. And that is another example. And as soon as you get home, you eat a nice balanced meal, and it just sits sucked into the muscle. So Tren, incredible bulker. You'll crave carbs on Tren. So eat good, clean carbs, lots of sweet potatoes, lots of brown rice, lots of unprocessed, unrefined, cold pressed coconut oil, all these good carb options that are available out there. Fruit, lots of fruit, load up on the fruit, lots of carbs on Tren. You'll be craving carbs on Tren all day because it's a sponge. So great bulker. What do you got next?
So I like that. I like Trenbolone for bulking or cutting. Trenbolone really makes everything that you do work better. So another really good bulking cycle you can run is Trenbolone, equipoise, testosterone. I've mentioned this one before. Test, EQ, and Tren. Nice, nice, nice stack. And you could throw some Dianabol on top of that just to do it lean, just to do it real lean. Now, guys, when you run this Trenbolone testosterone stack, when you run dianabol testosterone stack, also when you run a Trenbolone, Trenbolone with testosterone, you run a chance of experiencing parts of your cycle where you're going to feel very lethargic, very kind of sleepy, very kind of just dragged down. And that has to do a lot with your hormonal balance. And one of the things I suggest is a new product that I have out called N2 Transderm. Now, N2 Transderm is a topical testosterone booster. You apply it right to your upper shoulders. You can apply it also under your armpits, which is the best spot for mood elevation. So under the armpits, funny enough, but you apply it to the upper shoulders, and you're applying it right at the area where we tend to get the most acne from steroids, because that's the area where the enzymes live that are going to turn the active ingredients in N2 Transderm is going to turn them into anabolic androgenic hormones. The active ingredients in N2 Transderm are what your steroids, your testosterone in your body is a precursor before it becomes testosterone through different reactions with enzymes in your body. And so we apply that precursor. I can sell that to you over the counter, no problem. That precursor supplied on the shoulders, definitely some great test boosting effects. And that does away with a lot of the lethargic feelings during cycles. Some of that kind of rundown, tiredness, sleepiness that you get from your dianabol testosterone cycles, or Trenbolone and Dianabol, Trenbolone and testosterone cycles, some of these kind of strong androgenic cycles, that lethargic feeling goes away once you start using N2 Transderm right along with your cycle. So I'll talk more about N2 Transderm as the weeks and months go by, and I promote more of the product, some of the more of the benefits for you guys out there that are looking for a really good, strong product you can buy from me, a good muscle builder you can buy from me that can enhance any cycle you're doing, or that you could use standalone, just like the rest of my products. You know, you can use HC Generate, you can use N2 Generate standalone, just as a testosterone booster in between cycles, no problem. N2 Transderm, you could use standalone and get some great results, great benefits from it. This is a great product for you to use. Trenbolone, testosterone, equipoise, great stack. If you want to kickstart Dianabol, it's a great bulker, definitely a great bulker. I wouldn't drink any alcohol in that. You have the Trenbolone that's going to have some issues impairing the kidneys a little bit while you're on it. You have the Dianabol, which is, I mean, we know, guys, it's oral. It's going to hurt your liver. I would really stay away from the champagne. And if you definitely know that you're going to drink on a certain date, if you definitely know, like, hey, this date I'm going to have some drinks, I would stop your oral a good 48 hours before you drink, and a good 48 hours after you drink, I would wait to initiate it. I would make sure to take that liver support, that Entugard every day, obviously. But the day that you drink, you want that oral to have been out of your system, and for your liver to get a little break, at least minimum a day, minimum 24 hours since your last dose. You could then splurge in a little bit of alcohol if you're going to binge a little bit, whatever your way of drinking the poison is, and then you hang over a couple of days, and then you jump back on your cycle. Are you going to waste and flush your whole cycle down the toilet because you missed out on 5 days of your oral? Probably not. Probably not. Being the way things are, you probably make that up later on. You could probably make the cycle up later on as time goes on. For sure you can. You can make up those maybe kind of lost days of progress because you probably weren't working out hard enough anyway. And look, the days leading up to the day that you're going to drink and splurge, you got to work your ass off. That way, if you're going to eat a lot that day as well, along with the drinking, you've stimulated your muscle cells, so they're looking for proteins and nutrients. Muscle cells are repairing; they're in active repair. So that's just a great idea to go about things. And yeah, that's what I got for bulking. What do you got, Steve?
Next, I want to talk about oral only bulkers. A lot of guys out there don't want to run injectables. I get messages from guys all the time. Talk more about orals. We don't want to use injectables. Why? Well, if you got kids at home, you know, do you want to have needles around the house? What happens if the kid finds a needle and starts asking questions? I've had it happen to me before. So some people don't want to keep needles around the house. Some people don't want to inject. So they just want to run oral steroids. So one of the oral bulkers, really, really awesome bulker, is Anadrol. A-bombs. They're called A-bombs for a reason. 50 milligrams a day. What a great bulker. 4 weeks, 5 weeks. That's it. 50 milligrams a day. I mean, it's an incredible oral steroid. And I've seen guys blow up 12, 15 pounds in 4 or 5 weeks on 50 milligram a day of Anadrol. And they didn't even change their diet. They didn't even change their training. They just blew up like a weed on this stuff. And that's what it does, because Anadrol, it's just an incredible oral steroid. It's a DHT derivative, so it won't aromatize into estrogen, but it does bind to estrogen receptors. So you can still get estrogen-related side effects. So it's a little, little tricky. If you are prone to estrogen issues, it could be a problem for you. But it does have a lot of side effects. It's also hard on your liver. So you absolutely positively do not want to run any sort of alcohol or any type of drugs while you're using Anadrol. Even aspirin. You want to be very careful if you're using aspirin on Anadrol. If there is a day where you need to take your aspirin, I would skip a day of the Anadrol, because you're going to be putting too much pressure on your liver. And alcohol is an absolute killer, because now you're just making your body do more work for nothing. So alcohol will set you back. If you're doing a 4 or 5 week cycle, drinking alcohol on an oral cycle like that, it's going to set you back, I would say, about a week and a half. That's how detrimental alcohol is. Now, if you're running a long 12, 14, 15-week cycle and you drink alcohol, okay, it'll set you back like a week. Maybe 4 or 5 days or a week, it'll set you back. But you can live with that. But on an oral cycle, I mean, it can, cause 25, 30% of a loss in results. So don't do it. There really is no reason to drink at all. So if you have a drinking habit, you need to resolve that before using steroids. It's a good idea. I know people who are addicted to alcohol. Alcohol is very addicting. It's a depressant. So a lot of people drink because, they come home from work and they hate their job and they choose to drink, and it becomes a habitual thing. And it's very difficult to stop these bad habits, but you've got to use willpower and you have to be able to withstand it. So really a great way to motivate yourself to stop the alcohol consumption is via working out and steroid use, because when you're doing the steroids, it's so dangerous and so counterproductive to to drink alcohol that you won't want to drink alcohol. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of a detriment if you think about it. So if that's what you need to withstand it, then go for it. There's just no reason to fall prey to the peer pressure of, oh, I got to drink because it's the holiday. You don't have to do shit. Stop being a follower. Be your own person. Be your own leader. You don't need to do any of that shit. So it's just not necessary. Guys, I haven't drank alcohol in at least 15 years. I can't remember. It's been 20 years since I drank alcohol. So there's just no reason to do it. And it's just poison for your body. And there's no reason to eat crappy foods either. There's no reason on the holidays. You can eat healthy. If you're going to someone's house for a big holiday dinner, there are options for you to eat. I had over Thanksgiving, I had plain turkey, I had plain rice, I had some vegetables. That's it. I didn't need to eat any of the other. I didn't need gravy to drench my food, my turkey with gravy. Is there any animal on earth, any of these animals on earth that eat meat? Okay. Do you see any of them sitting there and drenching their meat with gravy before eating it? No, they eat the food. Okay. They just eat the food. So I don't understand why people feel the need to drench their food full of gravy and all this other crap. It's just not necessary. So it sounds weird, to a lot of people what I'm saying. But look, guys, it's guys and gals out there listening. Like, come on, like, just look around, look at the other animals in nature, how they react to food. They don't sit there and spice up all their meat and put salt, pepper, and barbecue sauce. And
that's because all the other animals are stupid.
I actually think we're the stupid ones because they're going by instinct.
All the other animals are dumb. They can't even build a car. Come on now. Animals are fucking stupid.
Well, humans can't build cars either. If you take a person off the street and tell them to build it. We did already.
You
built a car before?
We did that already. No, I'm taking credit for every human achievement ever when I'm comparing myself to other animals. Yeah, I'm not comparing myself to you. I'm comparing myself to furry fucking long tooth animals. Like, fuck those animals. We did much better than.
Well, we put them. We put a man on the moon. Unfortunately, it was a handful of scientists, the smartest people in the world, that did that. And I'm sure those scientists, they're actually, they know how to eat healthy and they know how to make sure their mind is on point. So
look, the only chimpanzees ever been in outer space because we put them there. Chimpanzees would have never gotten together and done something cool like that. Chimpanzees have no sympathy for each other. Like they don't, not like us. Like where will help other people and even other animals out, even if it's not in our immediate benefit. Chimps don't display that. They're very jealous animals, very envious of each other.
Yeah.
There's a guy who he's like a researcher or something, had a chimp. I think there was a long story. There's a guy who had a connection to a chimp and he gave him up to a chimp home. And he was like in this chimp home. And the guy went on the chimp's birthday with some cake to give to his old buddy, that chimp. And I guess when he was given this chimp cake, the other chimps got pissed because they weren't getting some cake. So they like mauled the guy, like chewed up his hands and his genitals and all kinds of shit because he didn't bring them cake too. So, and I mean, you never watched the Discovery Channel? Let's just see how animals just murder each other mercilessly. Like as the lion is killing the animal, he'll like play with it. Orcas do that shit too. They take a seal and they'll like flop it in the air for a while before they finally really do kill it, like just to torture it, to be real mean. So animals ain't all of that, man. I'm a humanist. I'm not into all this. The animals are pretty brutal, man. You get out there in the wilderness and run into a weird grizzly and we'll see how he treats you. But like I gotta sit here in this city and like worry about what the grizzlies are up to and how they're doing, how they're faring out up there. But I know if I was there in front of one of them, they'd eat me up. It's always been kind of ridiculous to me. I never get that whole thing. That to grow like all these large farms where they grow avocados and they grow all of these vegetables that are loved by vegans, they got to kill like a bunch of gophers so that they won't eat the stuff. They have to like kill like a bunch of squirrels, like acres and acres and acres of food that's supposed to be vegetarian.
All right, you ready to continue the podcast, or are we gonna?
They have to kill like a bunch of gophers and squirrels and natural and also hummingbirds too. Anyway, sorry about that, Steve. Go ahead. Let's keep
Yeah.
going. So we're doing winter
I,
snacks.
I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
Fuck animals. Anyway, go ahead, my man.
I don't know. I lost my train of thought. So
All right, all right.
your show.
I'll give you a couple minutes just to get it going. I already suggested 2 cycles. Did you suggest 2?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay, good deal. So what are you doing? What are you doing for these holidays? Are you gonna splurge on the food? Do you have a planned some cheat days or what are you doing for the holidays?
No, I don't have cheat. No, I really could not give a fuck about the holidays, bro.
Really?
I mean, yeah. Maybe when I was 5 or something, but no, I don't. Okay. The holidays are about giving back. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'll be volunteering, donating blood, donating to some charities, and volunteering and that sort of thing. So,
yeah, I've got to always observe the holidays because of my children. And my parents are big into holidays too, so they like to plan things and do things. Yeah. I mean, they don't let me off the hook with Thanksgiving and like even today as we are recording this podcast. Today we're recording this podcast. Traditionally, and where I'm from and where I was born in Colombia, kids are like light candles today for wishes to like wish for things and wish for people to be healthy and things like that. So kids will light different candles for different wishes they have. It's like a little holiday for the kids. So then they just go in front of their house on the sidewalk, everywhere, and kids are light little candles on the sidewalk. Kids like the holidays, man. Kids, it's just nice to see kids are happy for the holidays. So you do volunteer work. You do volunteer work like what, like a soup kitchens and things like that. For less fortunate.
No, I do volunteering for animals, the ones that you hate so much. I'm sure most of our listeners.
Damn it, man!
I'm sure most of our listeners have already like shut the podcast off.
Are you going to like an animal
listening
shelter?
to this bullshit?
Are you going to like
bullshit?
Are you going to like an animal shelter or do you do like in the wilderness? Do you do like what do you do for animals?
Yeah, in the wilderness.
You guys have invasive iguanas there that you're supposed to like kill as many as you can. Some people get paid to kill the iguanas because they're invasive.
All right, dude. All right, but bro, I'm good. You want to just finish the podcast? Or you want
to we're supposed to do at least 45 minutes, bro.
This is what you want to talk about, really?
I didn't know you were going to take it too hard, bro. It's just a joke. Like the animal thing is just a complete joke. Who would actually really hate animals? It's just a joke. I don't
know, bro. You sound like a psychopath. So,
am I the psycho? Because I made an obvious joke about hating, God's creatures. Or you maybe the weird one that actually thought I was.
I don't know. Let's take a poll. You want to take a poll?
Well, you know what?
Of our listeners,
this podcast will not be edited, and I will see on the YouTube comments because this is going up on YouTube and on the forums. You guys are on the forums, and take a poll. Let's see who thought that I was serious when I said that I hated animals. I just, But
let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. When you come home from a long day's work, and you got a dog or your cat, and they're dependent on you to feed them, and they're happy to see you. That's something special. That's something that you don't know anything about. So that's where the difference is.
I've owned animals. I've had pets before. I just, I know it's a commitment, and rather than not give an animal my best, I'd just rather not have one. Look, I'm traveling in a couple of weeks. So it's just kind of the way my lifestyle is. But I'm all about. Listen, I understand the appeal of having pets. One of my kids has a cat, and his cat's cool as shit. I love that little critter. So I mean, I'm cool with animals, dude. It's just a joke, man. You don't eat meat anymore, do you? Do you still fish?
Yeah, I eat meat.
You still eat meat? So you're not like you're not like full blown out vegan. But so do you volunteer for the shelter for like animals that are domestic, like animals we know, like cats and dogs and ferrets and shit, right?
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
That's cool. That's really cool, bro. I mean, that's cool. That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. Um, yeah, I don't have a problem with animals. I think they're really cruel to each other, like nasty cruel to each other. But like, I think
Well,
I'm cool.
that's that's okay that you think that. I mean,
Yeah,
I what I'm saying, that's not.
like house cats kill a shit ton of native species, like a lot. Like the cost of people having domesticated cats, it's for every cat there could be hundreds of birds and squirrels and baby birds and chipmunks and gophers and all kinds of animals that get injured and mauled by these house cats that people let out. You don't let your cat out of the house like that, but you know for a fact a lot of people let their cats roam the neighborhood, like they don't give a fuck.
Well,
And
yeah, with cats, they'll roam the neighborhood. They'll see with cats, they'll go after they're natural hunters, so they'll target birds, especially ground birds like doves and stuff like that. They'll
yeah,
target
pigeons.
lizards. They'll target rodents. Rodents are just irresistible, so they'll target. They do
They should
target.
train the cats to just eat all the iguanas in Florida that are invasive. There's a ton of invasive
Well,
iguanas there.
whose fault is that? Is it the iguana's fault?
Oh, people brought them over there.
Yeah, it's the people's
Yeah,
fault. So
yeah, yeah.
why, you know what I'm saying? So I don't understand that logic.
Oh, well, because the iguanas are out competing native species for
Right,
the
but it's not
habitat.
the iguana's fault. The humans brought them. You see what I'm saying?
So you don't think they should do anything about getting rid of the iguanas in Florida?
Buddy, I have no idea. But my point is it's not, the people, they brought the iguanas as pets and then they let them out and they started breeding. There's lizards that were brought over from the Caribbean to work the cane fields. Did you know that?
Pest
Because
control.
yeah, and they started spreading. So there's anacondas that were brung
Those are
over as
invasive too.
pets. Yeah,
Yeah, those are
they
invasive
were
too.
brung over as pets, and people, they didn't want to take care of them anymore, so they let them out. There's fish that are invasive, lionfish that
Yeah.
are invasive.
As long as you got a hunting license, there is no season or limit on iguanas or snake or some of these invasive snakes or
Yeah, we
anacondas in
talked
Florida.
about that before. Yeah, if you catch a lionfish, you're supposed to kill it right away. That's
Yeah,
the
you supposed
one
a lot of
saltwater
spears. Yeah,
fish.
a lot of people spear fish
Yeah,
those lionfish. Oh, they're
yeah, and
invasive
it's
everywhere.
yeah, but that again, it's not the lionfish didn't swim from the Indian Ocean. The lionfish were brung over to be in people's aquariums and all that stuff. Supposedly, there was a hurricane, and the hurricane caused the aquarium to overflow or broke the glass of the aquarium, and then the lionfish ended up spilling into the ocean. That's how they ended up getting into the ocean, and they don't have any predators.
So Pete did that? How do you know it
Huh?
was Pete that? So Pete did it? How do you know it was Pete that did it? Hurricane.
Yeah, that's supposedly what happened. How they got into the ocean.
All right.
Yeah, but the thing is with the lionfish, the nice thing about the lionfish is they're extremely edible. They're supposed to be extremely delicious. I've seen them sold in stores and stuff, so they're supposed to
There's
be really
there
really good, like
there's this
snapper.
there's this little island off of the coast of Colombia, which I like to visit every couple of years, and they've started to get infested by lionfish, these red lionfish, and it's kind of illegal to fish or spear anything inside of the coral reef. If you want to do spear fishing or any kind of fishing, you got to go outside of the coral reef bounds. But the lionfish, just like the last couple of years, they're letting people spear it and catch it in nearby because I mean it's taking over. It kills all the native species. It outcompetes everything. And yeah, it's a nice little island right off of the coast of Colombia. It's made of coral. At some point when our sea levels were taller, this thing was a huge coral mountain. And then when the sea levels dropped again, the coral started to shatter and it left like a couple of mountains with beaches that are the whole beach is just coral. Like you could grab in your hand and you could tell it's just tiny little bits of shell and coral. And it's called San Andreas. San Andreas is funny enough. And
Oh,
it's
the
a
movie. That's a movie.
Well, San Andreas is it's a video game, San Andreas, but San Andres is the island. It's a really nice island. It's got a great history too. During the age of the pirates, there was a couple of pirates that kind of made that their hangout, and eventually the Dutch inhabited the island and brought African slaves over to the island and taught them English. So there is like even though the island is far and away from Jamaica, there's like a small enclave of people of African descendancy that speak English, speak like a weird kind of broken English, and they're the actual natives of this island now at this point. But yes, San Andreas is off of the coast of Colombia. It's a beautiful place. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
I
gorgeous
actually
place.
saw a show about that. There was a plane landing there and it crashed just
Oh,
short of the runway. You ever heard of that?
that's no. I've got to
Yeah,
check that
it's a
out.
true story. Yeah, I watched it. It's funny because you mentioned that. It's a plane. They went into land and it was short of the runway. So I actually landed into the into the ocean. So I don't think anyone died though, because it landed into the ocean and then the people were able to get off the plane.
Oh, there's a lot of there's a lot of very tall coral. There's a big tall coral ring around this island. I wouldn't, ships if they get too close to the island can get anchored up, can get keyed up in the coral. It's a very I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a plane kind of hydroplane landed on the coral and
Well,
did,
if it's shallow and the ship is deep, the hull is deep, then it would get shipwrecked.
you get caught in the
Easily.
coral. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a ship there that was coming in from China, bringing some goods from China that basically got caught and couldn't pull back out. It went into the wrong spot, couldn't pull back out, and I believe the ship is just kind of over the years is kind of the water is just kind of oxidized it. But there's still a ship there that try to it got close to the island at night on the wrong side of the island, and it's just been there. I remember the ship being there, and it was almost complete when I went. The first time I went to San Andreas, I must have been about 5 or 6 years old. I remember the ship being fully complete, and then the first time I went in many years must have been about 7 years ago, and less than a quarter of the ship is left there. The water's taking the rest of it. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, it's a nice coral island. Anybody out there listening that wants to go to like a cool far off place, you go to Bogota, which is Colombia, and from Bogota you take a plane. It's about an hour and a half plane ride over to San Andreas, and it's two islands, San Andreas and Providence. And man, it's like good for like snorkeling, fishing. You go snorkeling the corals all you want. It's good, really good fishing out there too. Once you get out of the corals, they got good stuff out there to catch. It's pretty cool.
Be a good winter vacation. Galapagos Islands would be something nice to go check out.
Galapagos, I like to go check out. That's off of the coast of Ecuador on the Pacific side. Galapagos, I like to go check out. That's pretty darn cool. They got iguanas, but their iguanas, eat. Their iguanas are vegetarian, obviously, and they eat grass off the seafloor and off of the rocks and stuff. And
So if
they're interesting.
So if you go to the different islands, you'll see a turtle or tortoise, and the tortoises have different sized necks based on the foliage that they're eating. So the islands that have foliage that are high, the tortoises have longer necks. And the islands where the foliage is on the ground, the tortoises have short necks. So that's kind of what's cool about the Galapagos is the evolution of these animals and the way they changed their bodies to react to survive over the past millions of years. So that's what's cool about the Galapagos. It's really good, but it is a pain in the ass to get there because you've got to fly into Ecuador, then you got to take a ship to get to the island. So it's extremely expensive. So
yeah,
really,
there's no airstrip over there, is there? There's no airstrip in Galapagos, right? You got to take a ship there, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because they don't want to disturb anything by building an airport. So it is expensive because it's a long ship ride. So I would imagine a trip like that, it's going to cost you $20,000-$30,000 minimum, right?
Yeah, no, apparently I just looked it up online. Travelers must arrive in mainland Ecuador and get their flight. So apparently you can in very like small flights. They do have an airstrip apparently. That's what Google just spit out.
I think they'd have to have something in case, you'd have to get there quick. But I think it's a situation where only for emergencies. Like if someone, is hurt or something like that, they have to get you out quick. That's what they would use the airship.
I've always been interested in the Galapagos. Maybe one day I'll go there because of Darwin. That's where that's what the theory of Darwin was. It's what gave him the idea were these islands, because he could see all these species that he had seen in other places, but how they had adapted to living on this island. And he, that's where natural selection theory comes from. So it's pretty interesting. Definitely an interesting place. What you said about the tortoises, I didn't know that. I know they live for hundreds and hundreds of years. Tortoises, these tortoises do.
Well, tortoises live a long time because they're slow and they don't breed large amounts. So the animals in nature that breed large amounts, like rabbits, they breed lots of rabbits, or rats, they breed lots of rats, right? But they don't live a long life. Like a common rat in the United States, an outdoor rat, only lives about 2-3 weeks, because it's going to get eaten. It's going to, something's going to happen to it. So they breed a large amount. That's just nature. But an animal like a tortoise doesn't make a lot of tortoises, and they're very slow animals. They're very slow. So they live a long time. If they only live 2 weeks, like a rat, they'd be extinct by now. They wouldn't be able to survive as a species. So,
yeah.
So nature always has a way with things.
It's always been interesting, because you take animal cells from tortoises or horses or humans, whatever, different animals. Unless you do DNA testing, just looking at them under a microscope, all look pretty damn similar. All of the cells are going to look pretty darn similar. Again, unless you do a DNA testing, you might not be able to tell them apart. But we all age at a different rate, and it's like each animal has an expiration date built in. Because your cells are always regenerating. You're always killing old cells, creating new cells. But when it comes to but each animal will begin to have errors in the replication that, like us, causes our hair to turn gray, causes our skin to lose elasticity. These are all kind of errors in the code. Every time the DNA gets new cells are created, the DNA will have errors. It's because of the telomeres, basically. And that's always been real interesting to me, that every animal that walks this earth has their own unique kind of age range, expiration date. There's an old saying in South America, a farm saying. It goes something along the lines of a dog will last you 3 roosters, a horse will last you 3 dogs, and a man will have 3 horses in his lifetime. So it's just in the farm, people notice the difference in age ranges. Like, yeah, you will go through about 3 roosters, because you have a rooster, it grows. It's like the head of your little chicken coop. And then the rooster gets a little old. You gotta make soup with it and let another one of the younger ones take over the coop. And by the time you've done that about 3 times, your dog is getting old already. And he might be an old dog that's retired. You might need to get a new one if you use your dog for the farm at all. And after your 3rd dog has gotten kind of old, then your first horse, or your first main horse, it's about through its useful life. And it's just each animal has their own expiration date kind of built into the cells. I've always thought that was real interesting. And I guess, you can look at it either way, whether religiously or just pure science. When it comes to just pure science, and really the point is not just for the individual to survive and thrive. The point is for the species to go on, the species to survive and thrive. Then yeah, each each animal has their own time where the old timers need to move aside. Old genes need to die off, and new genes and new behaviors need to come in and take over. And just on a survival of the species aspect, their point of view, yeah, definitely each animal species needs to have their own expiration date, their own time to where the body begins to wither away and begins to get old. And yeah, it's not consistent. I mean, it could be the same animal cells, but it's not consistent across species. I always thought that was real interesting. Since forever, I've always thought like there's there's some kind of wisdom at work there, the way that works, the way we get old.
So speaking of that, we'll go back to my original point. Alcohol speeds up aging. Too much food speeds up aging. Too much stress speeds up aging. Different things will speed up your aging. So it's important to get a handle on these things, guys and gals. Stress, I'm not talking about psychological stress. I'm also talking about food stresses and drink stresses like alcohol, like eating the wrong foods, refined oils. Things are not natural. And, those are the things that speed up your age. And we know that fruits and vegetables contain antioxidants, contain minerals and vitamins that you need to stay healthy long term. So those are going to be the keys to longevity. So we'll go back to my original point before Rick took us on that tangent. I mean, you agree with me, right? Fruits and vegetables are the key to longevity.
Yeah, you get good ones. Yeah, definitely good foods that come out of plants. Definitely. There's, you've always, whenever we bring this point up, you've always got to bring up GMOs and some of these foods, some of these fruit. They're basically just some fiber and a lot of water and a lot of sugar, because some of the nutrition has been stripped from them. But for the most part, if you get nice, good organic stuff, you grow your own stuff at home.
Raw, organic.
Yeah.
Forget the whole juicing. When you juice a fruit or juice a vegetable, you're stripping out the fiber, you're processing it, you're putting it through a processing stage. So you want to stick to the raw. A raw orange is going to be superior to juicing that orange. But also, too, the other problem with fruits and vegetables is that they're picked unripened. So they're picked unripened, shipped, and then along the way they ripen, or on the store in the store they ripen. And that's the big challenge. Avocados, for example, you go to the store and they're green. They're green. They were picked unripened, and then in the store after 2, 3, 4 days, they sit there and they turn black. They ripen, and that's just not optimal. You want to make sure that you're getting fresh, ripe fruit that is picked, and that's hard to do. That's really, really hard to do. So, I mean, if you can buy locally from someone where they're picking it ripe, that's the most optimal way. If you live in a colder climate, you have options. Berries grow well in cold climates. Those are apples grow well in cold climates. So there's different fruits for different regions of the world. So that's an important thing. So, for your holiday dinner, if you want to splurge on food, that's fine. But you want to make sure that you're also getting your healthy foods. So let's say you're going to have lunch and dinner that day, right? And lunch is going to be a splurge holiday dinner. Then for dinner, you want to stick to, get in some good quality fruits and vegetables for your dinner and lots of water. And that will help offset whatever, you happen to eat for lunch, or vice versa. So if you're going to have a big dinner, maybe wait the whole day, fast the whole day, then you can splurge on your dinner. But splurging on food, what you asked me, Rick, is not the problem. It's splurging on the wrong foods. Like I had, for Thanksgiving, I had 2 servings of turkey. Then I went to another Thanksgiving dinner and I had 2 servings of turkey, plain. I didn't put any gravy on it. I didn't put any crap on it. And that was fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's when you get the turkey, you throw stuffing on it, you throw gravy on it, you throw mashed potatoes that are, that aren't fresh, that are just like powdered mashed potato. That's when you get yourself into trouble for your holiday dinners. So you want to make sure you stick to the good quality foods, and that would be the solution.
Yeah, definitely. The quality of the foods of everything you eat is incredibly important. And look, if this next couple of weeks are kind of peppered with different holidays and celebrations, but if you do all the right things and you eat all the right foods and you make all the sacrifices on the days that there are no celebrations, there is nothing going on, then it gives you that much more leeway to to just kind of be bad on the days where there are celebrations, there are gatherings, there is great food being made, and you don't have to feel so damn bad about it, so guilty about it, because you did the right things during the right times when it mattered. So that's something really important to think about and take with you now. Like, if you just do the right things, if you eat the right way, if you do what you're supposed to on the days when there aren't celebrations going on, then you can reward yourself. You can earn that reward. But if you're having a problem with self-control, if you're having a problem with eating properly, if you're having any issues with that year round, and then the holidays come around, sure, you could still have some of that food, but it's just not going to be as guilt-free. You're just going to feel like shit about it. How do I know you're going to feel like shit about it? Because you're listening to this podcast, so you obviously care about the way you look, right? So that's just something to take with you. And I bring that up almost every time we talk about clenbuterol and DMP and hard kind of these really kind of fat loss practices and fat loss drugs that are dangerous to your health, short and long term. And I always say, like, hey man, why are you in such a hurry now to lose body fat right now? What happened on the climb up? What happened on the climb up to 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20% body fat? When you were climbing up, why the fuck were you not in a hurry? Why are you in a hurry now? And this ties right in, if you got trouble, not eating too much, trouble with sugar waters, with breads and shit, got issues with self-control during a year, then you're going to have a much harder time being easy on yourself. I hope giving into some of these cravings when the food is in front of you at these family gatherings. So definitely keep that in mind for when the holidays are kind of over with. Be back on your grind, be back on your diet, on your fasting grind, be back on your time restricted feeding, 6 meals, whatever it is, just be back at it.
Episode 446. We hope you enjoyed it. We will do another one next week. Take care.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.